Meralco rates is set to go up this month amid a series of yellow alert in the Luzon grid. Senator Richard Gordon appeals to President Rodrigo Duterte to give the motorcycle double plate law a chance before suspending its implementation. The Department of Agriculture targets 96% rice self-sufficiency by 2020. Malacanang stands firm that there is nothing questionable on President Duterte's statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SALN. And the Bureau of Immigration slams social media personality Xian Gaza's Facebook story on how he evaded airport clearance to leave the country in 2018. Good evening. Power rate will increase in April according to Meralco, while the whole of Luzon region is once again under yellow alert today. Meralco also reminds customers to save electricity as another power rate hike is expected next month. Monokson tells us why.
Manila Electric Company or Meralco's power rate increases by 6 centavos per kilowatt-hour this month. Meralco said the additional rate is due to the increase in the wholesale electricity spot market or WESM. Other factors are the weakening of peso versus dollar and higher power generation charge. Meralco customers who consume 200 kilowatts per month will see their bill rise by 12 pesos more, while those consuming 500 kilowatts will have to pay 32 pesos more. Take Linda Abiad's case. Linda's electric bill is 20 to 25,000 pesos per month. They have 7 air conditioning units, 1 in each of their 4 bedrooms and 1 in every floor of their 3-story house. Linda has 4 grandchildren and her husband is ill. All of them need the cool air inside their home, especially this dry season. All of the air conditioning units work as early as 10 in the morning.
Kailangan mahalaga ang buhay
Meralco said while the power rate hike is small, consumers must still save electricity and practice power efficiency. Another power rate hike is seen next month because of the frequent yellow alert in Luzon, according to the Electric Power Distribution Company. Today, the entire Luzon is once again placed under yellow alert.
So the whole week last week, we had 5 days of yellow alerts, and then today, we have another yellow alert. So that will affect spot market prices once more, which may affect the generation charge.
The National Grid Corporation of the Philippines or NGCP defines a yellow alert as a system condition in which the reserves are less than the capacity of the biggest plant online, which is 647 megawatts for the country's largest island. Because of the hot weather, the demand is high, resulting in thin power reserve in Luzon. NGCP said the peak demand in Luzon is at 10,438 megawatts, while the reserve is only 829 megawatts. Today, the Luzon grid was on yellow alert from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monokson, UNTV, News and Rescue, Pasig City.
Local pump prices will increase anew this week to reflect the movement of prices in the international market. According to oil industry players, the price of gasoline will increase by 0.25 centavos per liter, diesel by 0.20 centavos, and kerosene by 0.10 centavos a liter. The fuel price increase will take effect on Tuesday. President Rodrigo Duterte says he will negotiate for lower fine violations of the motorcycle crime prevention law. Grace Casin tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte is seeking the suspension of the DOBLE PLAKA law, saying bigger license plates can be dangerous for motorcycle riders. In a speech on Saturday, Duterte said he will talk to Senator Richard Gordon about the proposition to amend several provisions in the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act. He will first convince the Land Transportation Office to suspend the implementation of the double plates.
Kasi it is not good. It is dangerous to place another gadget, lalo na may kanto. May kanto yung plate number. It could be a plastic or it could be an aluminum, but still with an impact na ganon, tutusok yan sa helmet mo. Delikado eh. Well, anything that is sharp there, hindi maganda.
The president suggested that instead of using double plates, it would be better to just increase the size of the current plates by 1/4 in order for it to be more readable. He also wants to amend the fines imposed on violators. From 50,000 pesos, he wants to lower it to 10,000 to 15,000 pesos.
50,000 is mas mahal pa sa motor ang ano na lang, sir, i-compromise siguro mga, ako I'm willing 10 to 15,000. Okay na yan.
President Duterte said he signed the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act on March 8 based on the recommendation of the Philippine National Police and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The LTO is currently drafting the implementing rules and regulation of the law, but it might still be subject to change depending on the President's amendments. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Senator Richard Gordon insists the law on double motorcycle plates should be implemented first and later amended once found ineffective. This despite President Duterte's proposal to suspend the implementation of the motorcycle double plate policy. John Nano explains why.
Malacanang remains confident that recent defamations through videos uploaded to social media entitled "The Real Narco-list" will not affect the credibility of President Duterte and his family. Just recently, an episode 3 of what
President Rodrigo Duterte is seeking the suspension of the DOBLE PLAKA law, saying bigger license plates can be dangerous.
the President Christopher Bongo to illegal drug operation and tags him as a member of a drug syndicate. According to the video, Go is allegedly the third major personality of the syndicate and received billions of pesos worth of drug money from 2010 to 2018. Go is also accused of having a tattoo on his back like that of the presidential son and former Davao City Vice Mayor Paulo.
Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture reveals it has adjusted its target rice efficiency rate in a bid for a food-secured Philippines. This is amid the implementation of the rice statification law. Here's Ray Pelayo to tell us why.
The Department of Agriculture projects the country's rice self-sufficiency at 96% in 2020. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol said this translates to more than 20 million metric tons of unmilled rice. The official aimed the 100% sufficiency upon taking oath at his office, but because of the implementation of the rice tarification law, they have adjusted to the new target. The new law liberalizes the importation of rice in the country with the application of 35 to 50% tariff. In 2017, the country produced 19.28 million metric tons or 93% sufficiency in rice, but it went down in 2018 due to the effects of tropical cyclones. The agriculture chief reiterated that the benefits of the 10 billion peso Rice Competitiveness and Enhancement Fund or RCEF to be provided through the tarification law will be felt in 2020. The department will also launch a fertilizer program which farmers will get through loan.
But the dramatic increase is expected in 2020 when we shall have implemented the RCEF at saka na-implement natin itong National Fertilizer Support Program.
Piñol argued that they do not achieve the 100% sufficiency in rice after his request of fund in 2016 was denied.
We asked for a 50 billion budget over the next 3 years para suportahan yung project. On the contrary, nabawasan pa yung budget ng PA. So talagang yun talagang dahilan.
Meanwhile, the National Food Authority will maintain its rice supply in the market, which sells at 27 per kilogram, even if the last batch of their imported rice was sold out in September last year.
Ganun pa rin ang magiging presyo, 27 pesos. And yun yung commitment ni Presidente as part of his efforts to really make low-cost rice available to the consumers.
Self-sufficiency in rice, according to the Philippine Rice Research Institute, means the country must produce a national rice requirement while maintaining a buffer stock that can be tapped in times of need. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Malacanang stands firm that there is nothing questionable in President Rodrigo Duterte's statement of assets and liabilities and net worth, or SALN. In the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, or PCIJ's report, the president and his 3 children, SALN, have allegedly ballooned. The law firms of some members of his family are allegedly not registered, and some of their shares in some firms are not declared on their SALN. Meanwhile, Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea said the SALNs covered by the request of the PCIJ have been submitted years before President Duterte became president and are not in the possession of the office of the president. He also reiterated that those groups aiming for the downfall of the president will not succeed because the president cannot be questioned about corruption.
Kung hindi niya dineclare, that's the time you should be explaining, and you should be prosecuted for not putting that in the SALN. He already explained it. He said whatever money he has, it came from the mother who was very active when she was still alive.
The Bureau of Immigration denied on Monday several claims made by viral businessman turned fugitive Xian Gaza that he allegedly evaded immigration officers and airport personnel to leave the country in 2018. Gaza posted online on Sunday, April 7, the story of how he was supposedly able to fly out of the country with 3 arrest warrants and a 5-year jail sentence over his involvement in an investment scam and his violation of the anti-bouncing checks law. In a social media post, he narrated how he escaped immigration officers as he intentionally disrupted his flight and made the flight personnel have their last-minute call and left the country. The Bureau of Immigration said his story is absurd, given that immigration officers are wary once a person leaving the Philippines has a negative record, adding the businessman's story is false. Gaza went viral in 2017 when he asked actress Erich Gonzalez to have coffee with him, which went public through a printed billboard in Manila. Several other actresses were also reportedly invited by Gaza to be his date despite his involvement in an investment fraud. Two 11-year-old composers got the opportunity to have their musical masterpieces played by the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
The Very Young Composers, or VYC, according to its website, was developed by noted composer and former associate principal bass John Deek to answer the question, what is children's music? VYC teaching artists, all of whom are professional composers and musicians, work with public school children of limited musical background as they compose their very own music for Philharmonic musicians to play, sometimes for the full orchestra. And one of those students is 11-year-old Max Cocaho, who is a 6th grader at PS 859, the special music school. After the 106-piece orchestra played his composition, young Mac took a vow with the conductor Jeff Van Sweden on Thursday at the New York Philharmonic's Fill the Hall.
When I think of something, I can just write it down. I can write it down, and every once in a while, one of my ideas becomes something that I really like, and I can build on it. I think what I like, in other words, what I like most about composing is composing.
Rising was the piece sang and written by 11-year-old American-Brazilian actor, singer, and composer Paloma Dinelli Chesky.
It's incredible just to have my composition here and have me on stage singing. It's amazing.
The New York City-based VYC programs consist the VYC Schools program, which target children in grades 4 and 5 in the public school system, and a subsequent VYC Bridge program available for those who wish to continue exploring composition as they move into their middle school years. Both the VYC Schools and Bridge are after-school programs. Internationally, the VYC has reached children on 4 continents, with countries including South Korea, China, Japan, Venezuela, Spain, and Finland, just to name a few. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
Former Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo is also being accused of illegal drug involvement. However, the palace stands firm. These are false narratives unless charges are filed before a court. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Malacanang remains confident that recent defamations through videos uploaded to social media entitled The Real Narco-list will not affect the credibility of President Duterte and his family. Just recently, an episode 3 of what turns out to be a series links former Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo to illegal drug operation and tags him as a member of a drug syndicate. According to the video, Go is allegedly the third major personality of the syndicate and received billions of pesos worth of drug money from 2010 to 2018. Go is also accused of having a tattoo on his back like that of the presidential son and former Davao City Vice Mayor Paulo Pulong Duterte's, which indicates an alphanumeric code, proof allegedly that he is also a member of a big drug syndicate. But for the palace, unless cases are filed before the court, these allegations will remain as false narratives.
Pero sir, di ba madali lang po magpakita ng likod kung meron ngang ganong tattoo? Would you suggest them to show their backs if indeed they have tattoos?
Ang one who alleges must prove. Kung totoo yung sinasabi nila, di pakita sa taong bayan ng totoo.
Go has not responded to UNTV News Team's inquiries regarding the issue. Those behind the said narco video challenged Go and Pulong to show their backs and if done, promise to stop from their allegations. Pulong as well as President Duterte's partner Hanilet Avancenia were the first ones to be linked to the drug trade in the country in the first 2 videos entitled Episode 1 and Episode 2. However, Malacanang said those who allege should be the ones to prove.
Sabi nga natin di ba sinabi nga na, that's pure and simple black propaganda. It's so easy to write a story and do a movie or a video out of that. Madaling gawin lahat yun eh. Kung totoo yun, di sana nag-file na sila ng mga charges. Wala naman silang pinafile. So, ibig sabihin, hindi totoo.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Philippine National Police say they will not arrest former Police Colonel Eduardo Acierto despite calls to do so. Meanwhile, the former police colonel and his family are seeking asylum. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
The Philippine National Police or PNP believes that former Police Colonel Eduardo Acierto's drug matrix will benefit their investigation into the illegal drug trade in the country. Through his drug matrix, Acierto claims that President Rodrigo Duterte's former economic advisor Michael Yang and his business partner Alan Lim are involved in the illegal drugs trade in the Philippines.
Yung inilabas na matrix ay malaking bagay, malaking impormasyon yon na makakatulong sa patuloy nating pangangalap ng information at validation ng mga iba't ibang personalidad na may kinalaman, may kaugnayan sa illegal na droga.
And amid the issue, Acierto said his life is now in great danger. Part 2 of Acierto's video was posted on Boom Buen Camino's Twitter account. On the said video, Acierto revealed he and his family are now looking for a country who will accept them.
Inutusan ko na po ang pamilya ko na maghanap ng bansa na pwedeng tumanggap sa amin, na mag-apply ng asylum. Sana po matulungan nyo kaming makakuha ng asylum kahit sa anong bansa.
It can also be noted that the PNP has offered protection to Acierto. The PNP also refuses to arrest the former police official. On March 31, Senator Richard Gordon
chair of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee that investigated the 11 billion peso shabu shipment last year, has urged the PNP and Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency chiefs to arrest the dismissed cop whose involvement in the drug shipment had been one of the highlights of the panel's committee report. PNP spokesperson Police Colonel Bernard Banac stated they will not arrest Acierto without a warrant of arrest from the court.
Well, kapag meron pong inilabas na warrant of arrest ang ating local courts, nakahanda po ang Philippine National Police na ito'y isagawa at i-implement. Maging sino man ay wala namang exempted sa ganito. Kung ang tutukuyin ay si dating Police Colonel Acierto, ay nakahanda po ang Philippine National Police na tumugon sa mandato ng korte.
Mirasol Abugadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
The Surigao del Norte Provincial Police Office recovered 40 blocks of suspected cocaine on the shores of Burgos, Surigao del Norte on Sunday. Authorities said these blocks were wrapped in fishing nets when they were found by two fishermen floating offshore. After recovering the blocks, the police inspected them and found that they have similar markings with the illegal drugs found in Barangay Pacifico, San Isidro, and the illegal drugs also found in Surigao del Norte on February 17. The recovered cocaine blocks are currently in custody of the PNP Burgos. President Rodrigo Duterte says he will fire more government officials due to corruption. Meanwhile, the chief executive defends his family after a report was released questioning his statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SALN. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
One of the things that make President Rodrigo Duterte mad is red tape. Red tape in the government leads to corruption. Because of many proceedings and rigorous regulations, this slows down the process such as approval of businesses. Applicants are then forced to pay to hasten the process. With this, the president warns of dismissing more government employees and officials upon his return to Malacanang. He made a statement last Saturday night in Iloilo.
Every table yan, kung magdaan, corruption talaga. Kaya ako, pagbalik ko maybe tomorrow, I'll be firing a lot of people. Simply for corruption. Kaya yung authority to convert is given to a certain person, tapos pabalik-balikin mo yung tao for 2 years. To me, that is corruption. Nothing else. Ang meaning niyan is you want money, so he has to go back and forth.
He once again encourages the public as well as the foreign investors to report corrupt officials and employees of the government.
Any Filipino or foreigner doing business here, or even a tourist, if it involves corruption, let me know. Go to Malacanang at any time. Ang sabihin mo lang sa gwardiya, I have to report to the mayor, kasi tawag ko, to the mayor, that I was a victim of corruption. And I will entertain you. And I will solve it for you. Tawagin ko ginabukasan at magharap kayo. That's my style. Marami ko ng beses ginawa lang. Hindi ko lang sinasabi kasi binugbog talaga. Ayan ang problema kasi...
Meanwhile, President Duterte defends his family after a report by the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, or PCIJ, was released questioning his statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SALN. The report says his and his 3 children's SALN have ballooned. It also says that the law firms of some of his family members are not registered and some of their shares with certain firms are not reported in their SALN. But the chief executive stands firm there's nothing wrong with their business outside the government as long as it is not illegal.
Wag na kami kasi kami, what we earned outside is none of your business actually. Yung na may mga negosyo kami, may mga law office kami. What the you know, you have to have a law office because there is an election every 3 years. And it's so short. Kung matalo ka ngayong eleksyon na ito, where would you go? Kaya talagang mayroon kami, at yung mag-advertise kami sa pangalan namin, well, there's nothing wrong as long as you do not practice and you do not help people get something from government that is illegal. Yan ang tingnan nila. Hindi yung mga law office namin and what happened to our business partnership. It's not your business. It's my worry. And as long as it is not the people's money, I don't give it. Wala ako. Ako sinisiguro ko yan.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, plans to issue a closure order next week on establishments responsible for the waste in Manila Bay. Meanwhile, the DENR identifies a swimmable area around Manila Bay. May Bermudez tells us why.
Amid the continuous Manila Bay rehabilitation project and prohibition to swim in the waters of Manila Bay, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, identifies a swimmable area in Mariveles, Bataan with an estimated 100 to 200 most probable number coliform content level based on a report the DENR received.
Matatanda nyo na nasabi natin dito sa DENR na within 6 months to 1 year, meron tayong magiging swimmable area, no? Ito na po yun.
Yusek Anteporda added Secretary Simatu will head for Bataan to validate the report. Despite this progress, the DENR issues a stronger warning to the public, especially those who are planning to spend their holiday or vacation on Rojas Boulevard.
Well, iba po ang sitwasyon ngayon. Ngayon po'y nabubulabog ang dagat. Hinuhukay po siya. At kumbaga, yung mga nakadapa na talim ng mga bakal o anuman salamin man o bote o bubog, ngayon po ay nabulabog na po. Kaya malaki yung posibilidad na nakatutok siya pataas at maaari kayong ma-injure o baka malagay sa alanganin ng buhay nyo.
It was in January this year when wider cleanup operations and prohibition of visitors along the Bay Area were implemented by the government. Dredging, desilting, and estero cleanups are still ongoing. In fact, on Saturday morning, Rodolfo was creeped out when he discovered a mysterious item in Manila Bay while he was dredging. Instead of plastic and trash, the amphibious excavator dug a bomb.
Nung pagdakot po namin, pagangat po ng bakit, nakita ko po yung parang ng bote. Nung nilapitan ko po, nakita ko yung tanso. Paghipo ko, medyo gumalaw. Sabi ko, uy, bomba to ah. Tapos binuhusan namin ng tubig. Pagbuhos ng tubig, yun. Talagang bomba na, tumawag kami ng bomb squad.
The excavator operator immediately turned the bomb over to the Manila Police District Explosives Ordnance Division.
This is a vintage bomb. For what I heard, World War II bomb pa ito, no? And no worries. First, ang ating pong Manila Police District ay inaksyon naman kaagad ng Explosive Ordnance Division nila na talagang safely nadala naman sa Manila Police District. And from what I heard, dadalhin daw po ito sa Tarlac para doon pa sasabugin.
Amid the continuing rehabilitation, several establishments which violated environmental laws and are responsible for the Manila Bay situation will be ordered to shut down.
Meron kami mga nakikita mga hotels, restaurants, basically karamihan restaurants talaga. Well, of course, yung Clean Water Act natin, yun ang unang-unang violation nila. Wherein, yung tubig na inilalabas nila from their establishment, talagang marumi.
Dubbed as the Battle for Manila Bay, the 3-year rehabilitation program of the coastline, long known for its beautiful sunsets, aims to restore it to its former glory. The government allotted 47 billion pesos for the project. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
American amateur golfer Jennifer Kupcho struck a blow for gender equality and entered golf history books. Meanwhile, Filipino amateur golfer Yuka Saso ties in third place with Japanese Yuka Yasuda. Asher Kadapan Jr. will tell us why.
Jennifer Cupcho was crowned Augusta National Women's Amateur Champion by firing a final round 5 under 67 for a 4-shot win over Maria Fassi on Saturday in Augusta, Georgia. 30 of the top amateur women in the world battled it out from April 3 to 6, where Cupcho made one of the greatest finishes in the history of Augusta National.
And then to be able to hit the last putt and to win, it's just amazing. It's an amazing feeling to have my brother here, to have my parents here, everyone out there supporting me. It was quite a day.
It was amazing. I mean, everyone was so supportive. Everyone was so welcoming, and they were just pulling for good golf, and that's what we were trying to do. And I think that's what we did. And I hope they enjoyed it as much as we did.
Meanwhile, tied at third place were Filipino-Japanese amateur golfer Yuka Sasso from San Ildefonso, Bulacan, with birdie putt to shoot 69 and finish at -2. And Yuka Yusada of Japan with nice third shot, she would birdie to go to -3. Following the first women's competitive round played at Augusta National, it was a double celebration for Cupcho as she hoisted the silver and a gold Tiffany Cup at a club that just 7 years ago did not have a single woman member. With Augusta National set to host the Masters next week, Fassi and Cupcho proved that women can also produce nerve-jangling drama with a back nine battle worthy of any major. The Augusta National opened for play in 1933. Asher Gadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue.
And finally, to complete the most significant news for the day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. Customers of Manila Electric Company or Meralco will pay higher rates in April due to higher spot market prices. Meralco is increasing its power rates by 6.33 centavos per kilowatt hour this month. The power producer said the higher rate for April is mainly due to the increase in the generation charge as well as the depreciation of the peso against the US dollar. It also takes into account the 12 centavo per kilowatt hour balance from the March rate hike. For a typical household that consumes 200 kilowatt per hour a month, the rate hike means an additional 13 pesos in the April bill. The upward adjustment is the third consecutive month of increases after rates were hiked in February and March. Meanwhile, Senator Richard Gordon insists the law on double motorcycle plate should be implemented first and later amend it once found ineffective. This despite President Rodrigo Duterte's proposal to suspend the implementation of the motorcycle double plate policy. Joanne Nano will tell us why.
As the principal author of the Motorcycle Crime Prevention Act, wherein motorcycle plates will be bigger in size and will be mounted in front and on the rear of motorcycles, Senator Richard Gordon maintains the new law should be implemented first before making any amendments if found ineffective. This was the statement of Senator Gordon in response to President Rodrigo Duterte's proposal to suspend the implementation of double motorcycle plates. Gordon said he is ready to talk and to comply with the President's order, but insists this law only aims to combat crimes that usually involve motorcycle riding suspects. Senator Gordon explained that if he were to consider the President's suggestion, another senator should agree to amend the law. On the other hand, the Land Transportation Officer LTO will let the Congress decide on amending the provisions in the law. LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Edgar Galvantes said they will have to wait for the lawmakers' final decision before they could push through with the implementation and final design of new motorcycle plates. But he said they will proceed with the registration of riders as well as the negotiation with bidders who will manufacture the new plates. This is to avoid delays as the agency is targeting to meet the implementation of the law that takes effect on June 30.
Marami ito, naka-record 7.1 million. At meron pang mga hindi pa nakakarehistro, maidadagdag yon. Kaya kailangan mag-adjust kami ng halimbawa yung aming operating hours, no? Yung hindi biro yung ganun karaming magpaparehistro. Talagang magkakaroon ng mahaba-habang pila, no?
Meanwhile, various motorcycle groups hailed President Duterte's proposal to suspend the implementation of double motorcycle plates. Motorcycle Federation of the Philippines Chapter President Mario Montalban said they are very thankful for the President's support to their call. The group has again clarified the riders are ready to comply with the law so long as it will not compromise their safety.
Kami naman, hindi naman kami tumututol kasi hindi naman kami tumututol kung hindi naman labis-labis. Masyado naman yung nilakihan mo na yung plaka sa likod, lalagyan mo pa sa harap, parang hindi na tama.
Malacanang explained the President signed the said law only to protect the welfare of the public against motorcycle riding criminals.
She signed it kasi yung batas na yun, protection ng general public. Yun ang underlying basis niya for signing that.
Joan Ano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
In other news, the Department of Agriculture projects the country's rice self-sufficiency at 96% in 2020. Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol said this translates to more than 20 million metric tons of unmilled rice. The Agriculture Chief also reiterated the benefits of the 10 billion peso Rice Competitiveness and Enhancement Fund, or RCEF, through the tarification law will be felt in 2020. The department will also launch a fertilizer program which farmers will get through loans.
But the dramatic increase is expected in 2020 when we shall have implemented the RCEF at saka na-implement natin itong National Fertilizer Support Program.
Ang totoong Narco-list video has been one of the most controversial topics in the country these past few days. Episode 3 of the videos that have gone viral accuses former Special Assistant to the President, Christopher Bongo, to illegal drug operation and tags him as a member of a drug syndicate. The first two videos where the anonymous person, also known as Bicoy, accuses former Davao City Vice Mayor Paulo Duterte and presidential daughter Veronica Kitty Duterte of receiving payoffs from a drug syndicate. This time, Bicoy said they will only stop once Go and the young Duterte showed their backs to the public. Malacanang maintains such a video is just part of the administration's detractors' black propaganda. It can be recalled that the May 2019 senatorial elections, February 2019 Pulso ng Bayan pre-electoral national survey showed that Bongo is on the top 5 of senatorials. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DNR, identifies a swimmable area in Mariveles, Batangas as the Manila Bay rehabilitation project continues. The said area has an estimated 100 to 200 most probable number of coliform content level based on a report the DENR received. Yusek Antiporda added Secretary Simatu will head for Bataan to validate the said report.
Matatanda nyo na nasabi natin dito sa DNR na within 6 months to 1 year, meron tayong magiging swimmable area, no? Ito na po yun.
It can be recalled that the Department of Health in February advised the public against swimming in Manila Bay, citing health issues. DOH reminds the public that swimming in polluted bodies of water can lead to waterborne gastrointestinal diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, dysentery, and as well as skin diseases and eye infections. And for the news abroad, the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security, Kirstjen Nielsen, who enforced some of President Trump's controversial border policies, has resigned. Here's Pauline Ompico to tell us why.
U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, who oversaw President Donald Trump's bitterly contested immigration policies during her tumultuous 16-month tenure, resigned on Sunday amid a surge in the number of migrants at the border with Mexico. A senior administration official said Trump asked for Nielsen's resignation and she gave it. Trump, who has recently expressed growing anger about the situation at the border, said on Twitter, Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen will be leaving her position and I would like to thank her for her service. In another tweet, Trump said Kevin McAleenan, the current U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, would become acting DHS Secretary. In a tweet late Sunday, Nielsen said that she would stay on until Wednesday. Nielsen, 46, had been DHS secretary since December 2017. Her departure had been repeatedly rumored over the past year, particularly after a wave of anger over the administration's 2018 family separation policy at the border with Mexico, and most recently as U.S. border officials estimated that 100,000 migrants were apprehended at the southern border in March, the highest level in a decade. Trump has made a clampdown on illegal immigration a centerpiece of his two-year-old presidency, leading chants of Build That Wall at his rallies as he has sought to cut back on the number of newcomers entering the United States without proper documentation. Many of the migrants picked up last month were Central Americans seeking U.S. asylum. Trump was so frustrated about the increase that he announced he would cut off U.S. aid to Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. He also threatened to close the border with Mexico, although he later backed off that proposal with a threat to impose tariffs on auto imports. In her resignation letter, Nielsen asked for more from Congress and the courts, which have opposed such Trump administration initiatives as his effort to limit immigration from Muslim nations and the border wall. Pauline Pico, UNTV News and Rescue.
One of U.S. President Donald Trump's top aides has said that opposition Democrats will never see his tax returns. White House Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney said the call for the records to be released was a political stunt. On Wednesday, a congressional tax committee submitted a request for 6 years of the president's returns from the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS. Unlike previous presidents, Trump has refused to publish his tax details. During an interview on Fox News, Mick Mulvaney called the bid to see President Trump's tax returns a political stunt. Meanwhile, American Airlines will extend cancellations on 90 flights a day through June 5 following the grounding of Boeing 737 MAX aircraft after 2 deadly crashes in 5 months. The move by the biggest U.S. airline is the latest sign showing that the Boeing model is not expected to resume service anytime soon. On March 24, the airline said it would cut 90 flights a day until April 24. On Friday, Boeing also announced it plans to reduce its monthly 737 aircraft production by about 20%. 4 terrorists targeted a security checkpoint in eastern Saudi Arabia as they tried to flee the country. Meanwhile, over 20 people were killed in a fighting near Tripoli, Libya. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
In Libya, Libya's UN-backed government says 21 people have been killed and 27 wounded in fighting near the capital, Tripoli. Rebel forces under Gen Khalifa Haftar had advanced from the east with the aim of taking Tripoli. Prime Minister Fayez al-Sarraj has accused him of attempting a coup and says rebels will be met with force. Among the dead was a Red Crescent doctor killed on Saturday. Gen Haftar's forces said they had lost 14 fighters. Earlier, the UN appealed for a 2-hour truce so casualties and civilians could be evacuated, but fighting continued. And in a statement, Secretary of State Pompeo said the U.S. was deeply concerned about fighting near Tripoli and stressed the needs for talks. In India, Pakistan says it has reliable intelligence India is planning a military attack this month, something India dismissed as war hysteria. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi made comments on Sunday. Already tense relations between the two deteriorated this year when Pakistan-based militants killed dozens of Indian troops in Indian-administered Kashmir. In Saudi Arabia, 4 attackers targeted a security checkpoint with guns and explosives in eastern Saudi Arabia as they tried to flee the country, leading to the death of 2 and the arrest of 2 others. According to reports, the incident occurred at Abu Hadriya, a highway connecting the kingdom's eastern province with neighboring Bahrain and Kuwait. It reported 2 injuries among the security forces. The oil-producing province is a flashpoint between the Sunni Muslim government and the Shiite minority, which complains of discrimination and repression. In Rwanda,
A solemn walk and candlelight vigil was held in Kigali on Sunday to commemorate the lives of 800,000 Tutsi and moderate Hutus murdered during the Rwandan genocide, a 3-month killing spree that began 25 years ago. Paul Kagame led thousands of people in a march from Parliament to the National Soccer Stadium, where lights were extinguished so only candles and flames flickered as survivors spoke. Earlier in the day, Kagame placed a wreath at the Gizosi Genocide Memorial Site, where over 250,000 of people are buried. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue.
More rescue groups are set to participate in the upcoming 4th UNTV Rescue Summit happening on April 28. The event aims to spread awareness and preparedness for calamities such as the big one. Let's find out why from Asher Kadapan Jr.
Calamities happen when least expected. And when the anticipated 7.2 magnitude earthquake or the big one hits, it will draw massive destruction of buildings and infrastructures, which threatens residents of Metro Manila and neighboring provinces. This is why UNTV News and Rescue continues to strive towards safety preparedness to save lives as catastrophes strike. And on its 4th year, UNTV partners with the local government of Marikina City, who will host the 4th UNTV Rescue Summit.
Marami kaming pwedeng matutunan sa mga Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office na pupunta din dito, at yung kanilang mga expertise magagamit namin para mas umigi, mas maging handa kami sa anumang sakuna darating dito sa amin sa Marikina.
The UNTV Rescue Summit aims to share and develop life-saving skills to other rescue groups, which will serve as a tool in saving lives. Participating rescue teams will receive free seminars on first aid on cuts, limb injury, and other life-threatening injuries. It also includes rescue simulation on manual cardiopulmonary resuscitation or CPR, do's and don'ts in rescue operations, family disaster plans, and basic family disaster survival kit. The summit is also integrated with a rescue competition, which will once again put to test rescue teams' knowledge, endurance, and teamwork.
Dun sa technical rescue aspect, tinagdagan natin. Kasi maraming mga pwedeng mangyari pagdating ng the big one. Kaya kailangan lahat ng magre-responde is knowledgeable sa lahat ng iba't ibang klase ng pagsagip ng buhay. So dinagdagan natin ngayon ng konsepto ng water rescue, konsepto ng high-angle rescue, kaya mas magiging exciting ito.
In this year's Rescue Summit, more teams are participating to help in promoting safety preparedness. A total of 8 teams from different regions of the country, which often experience calamities, qualified for the rescue competition. These are rescue teams from San Pedro, Laguna, Balanga, Bataan, and provinces of Laguna, Cagayan, Palawan, Camarines Sur, Ilocos Sur, and Nueva Vizcaya.
Unang-una po, yung CAMSUR is in terms sa disaster po, medyo malapit po kami lalo na pagbagyo, lagi po kami dalalan. So habang wala pong mga kalamidad or ano pa man na pangyayari, yung ginagawa po ng aming team is to enhance our knowledge.
First time po namin makadalo sa ganitong competition, and yun nga, gusto rin namin mai-enhance din yung skills through sa pagsali ng mga ganitong competitions, tsaka madagdagan pa yung knowledge namin sa mga kalaban din namin na teams.
The event also serves as another opportunity for returning teams to perform better and enhance the skills they learned from the previous summit.
Ang pinaka-lesson na natutunan talaga namin last year is yung kung gaano kahalaga ang communication and coordination within the team. Yung nanalo last year, Nueva Vizcaya, yun talaga yung nagpanalo sa kanila. Yung tingin ko, yun yung nagkulang sa amin. Kaya yun yung aming mas pinapalakas po ngayon.
Marami ho kaming natutunan. Number 1 yung pagkakaisa. Makilala mo yung mga rescuer mo sa ibang lugar. Pagtitin naman doon sa area namin na mas pinabuti pa namin kung ano yung mga dapat namin gawin doon, tulad nung sa mga pagdisiplina sa mga kasama during operations.
This project is presented by UNTV with the innovative concepts of Mr. Public Service Kuya Daniel Razon, who introduced UNTV News and Rescue, the first in the Philippines where news correspondents and crews are trained as first aid rescuers. Aspiring rescuers and families are invited to the 4th UNTV Rescue Summit that will be held at Marikina Sports Center in Marikina City on April 28 from 6 in the morning. Asher Gadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A Dutchman records the world's longest ever journey by electric car this weekend. His around-the-world journey began in the Netherlands and ended in Australia. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
A Dutchman completed an epic 95,000-kilometer road trip in Sydney on Sunday in what is now claimed to be the world's longest ever journey by electric car. Wade Wacker drove his station wagon nicknamed the Blue Bandit across 33 countries in a bid to prove the viability of such vehicles in tackling climate change.
And my goal with this trip has been to show people the advantages of electric mobility. I'm very enthusiastic about electric cars because it's a way to tackle climate change. I hope that today, by arriving here at Botanic Gardens, that I've proved that this electric mobility is a viable way of transport.
The trip began from the Netherlands on March 15, 2016 to Australia in a fully electric car and without any money. Wacker took just over 3 years and was funded by public donations from around the world, including electricity to charge the Bandit, food, and a place to stay at the end of the day. Wacker drove across a variety of countries and environments, including Turkey, Iran, India, Myanmar, Malaysia, and Indonesia.
All these contributions determined the route to Australia, went crisscrossing around the world, and after 1,019 days, 33 countries, 95,000 kilometers, I finally arrived here at the Royal Botanic Garden in Sydney.
Wacker said before the car was modified, it would have used 6,785 liters of petrol to complete the journey. The modified vehicle can travel 200 kilometers on a single charge. Wacker said he spent just $300 on electricity, much of it in the remote desert outback of Australia. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this April 8, 2019. On behalf of Rina Villamor Camara and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo, and before we close, we will recap the today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
So the whole week last week, we had 5 days of yellow alerts, and then today, we have another yellow alert. So that will affect spot market prices once more, which may affect the accumulation chart.
Hindi naman kami tumututol kasi hindi naman kami tumututol kung hindi naman labis-labis. Masyado naman yung nilakihan mo na yung plaka sa likod. Lalagyan mo pa sa harap. Parang hindi na tama.
Diba sinabi ko na, that's pure and simple black propaganda. It's so easy to write a story and do a movie or a video out of that. Madaling gawin lahat yun eh. Kung totoo yun, di sana nag-file na sila ng mga charges.
I'll be firing a lot of people simply for corruption. Kaya yung authority to convert is given to a certain person, tapos pabalik-balikin mo yung tao for 2 years. To me, that is corruption. Nothing else. Ang meaning niyan is you want money, so he has to go back and forth.
Doon sa technical rescue aspect, tinagdagan natin. Kasi maraming mga pwedeng mangyari pagdating ng The Big One. Kaya kailangan lahat ng magre-responde is knowledgeable sa lahat ng iba't ibang klase ng pagsagip ng buhay. So dinagdagan natin ngayon ng konsepto ng water rescue, konsepto ng high angle rescue, kaya mas magiging exciting ito.